Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia. This is Pillow Talk COVID edition. As I'm still down for the count with COVID, but I'm getting better every day, and it's not so bad. And so my wife is joining me from the other room, so she is socially distanced. How you doing today, babe?
I'm sad because I can't hang out with you like I want to. Wait, now
Yeah,
you have no symptoms, right? I don't see any symptoms in you.
I
What
don't have
is
a
it?
lot of symptoms. No, I had symptoms in the beginning. I had crazy headaches.
And you had a fever for sure.
Yes, I did, and the fever was gone after a couple of days, and after that, it was just COVID.
Oh
It
my
was just
God.
there. And well, I wasn't 100%. I mean, but I'm feeling pretty normal now. Now we're just waiting for the negative test and everything. It's not so terrible though. It's not as terrible as I thought it would be.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, catching it, like, because people think about it. I'm 51 years old. I battle with some high blood pressure, right? Pre-existing condition, right? I wish I could say I wasn't overweight. Even though I've lost a lot of weight, I'm still technically overweight. And they make you think that if you get it, you're just done. Like it's just over. And especially at 51. But yeah, I mean, it really hasn't been that bad. I never lost my sense of taste and smell. The worst part of having COVID was
What was that?
I couldn't touch my wife.
You did. Well, you hugged my ankles this morning, and that felt good.
I couldn't help it. It's been 6 days. I had to hug them ankles. Them thick, sexy thighs. I had to. I had to grab onto something. I said, I can't go a week and not touch my wife.
It's been over a week now. This is not right.
I know. It's
This
so
ain't
crazy.
right. And
Anyway,
then
enough
in
of
the
our
midst of this,
nonsense.
we got a breakup. We can't have a breakup in the middle of our broken upness.
Oh, speaking of breakups, I'm gonna tell you, a
Yeah.
lot of black folks, a lot of y'all, Deatrice and John C. and Jessica Nicole and DDS and a little bit. We noticed a lot of you all were talking about this breakup with Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's absolutely gorgeous daughter. Shout out to her for being such a pretty lady, at least on the outside. I don't know what kind of person she is on the inside. And it seems like everybody in the whole black community is just really caught up in this relationship. And I thought that was kind of surprising.
What do you mean? Look at them. That is the most beautiful. It's like the perfect couple in heaven. They were just deemed, destined to be
Okay.
together. I was already planning their wedding in my head and the cute little kids they were going to get.
Okay.
They were
So
going to
so
have.
let me
And
let, so let
what?
me jump in with a little bit of critical analysis here. And by the way, babe, if you're able to speak a little louder in your microphone, so that might help because I can't hear you as well as I'd like to.
Oh, you cannot hear me. Okay. I don't know.
But I can hear you. Just maybe if you're a little louder, it would be good.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I need to ask you this. Besides the fact that they are both good looking people on the outside,
Gorgeous.
what makes them into this perfect couple? They ain't. What criteria do you have other than the way they look?
That was all. And just the way they look. And the way I saw them on, they're like Instagram official. Like first of all, Michael B. Jordan is like the number one eligible bachelor for quite some time, ever since the Black Panther. And, he's eye candy to a lot of youngins. I'm old enough to be his mom, so I can't look at him like that. Like, he's like my
Well, you
son.
ain't old enough
He's
to be
like,
his mom. Yeah,
what
he's
is he,
35.
30?
You're not 35, but you're not old enough. If you were his mom, then you would have been the talk of the whole middle school.
Wait,
And
how he's 35 years old?
yeah, this dude's gonna
Oh,
be 40 in a few years.
okay. Well, in my eyes, he just looks like a baby to me. And you're like, wow, look at him. He's eligible bachelor, and he connected with this another Hollywood type, Steve Harvey. Is it Steve Harvey's daughter or is it his wife's daughter? I don't know which one it
I
is. But
think it's
anyway,
Steve Harvey's daughter. I think that's his actual biological daughter.
that's his biological. Okay, his biological. Anyway, so it just seems like such a great couple. Look at them together. How could they not be happy together? And he made it Instagram official and posted her on there. I think maybe a year ago. And they spent 4th of July together. They spent all their holidays together, and it just seems like from the outside looking in that they were just wonderful together. But
Oh, okay. So some people are saying that that's not his biological daughter. I thought it was his biological. When I
that's
googled it,
Marjorie's daughter.
oh, is that so? That's his wife's daughter.
I think so. Yeah.
Ew. Okay. All right. Well, that explains her looks then. Okay.
She's gorgeous.
So,
She's gorgeous. Marjorie's gorgeous too.
oh, Marjorie is a very pretty. She's almost like Alicia Watkins gorgeous.
Uh,
So yeah, she's almost. I mean, Steve didn't quite score as well as I did, but
oh,
he
please.
he did I. He did I.
You are so sweet. You're so sweet. But yeah, so I mean, this was the couple that we were all kind of waiting to see and waiting to see where this relationship was going, and they broke up, and it's unfortunate.
Well, you know what? I do think it's unfortunate. I was really just interested. It's almost like I became fascinated with the public's fascination, of this, and I thought it would be an interesting pillow talk topic to kind of talk about it and explore that a little bit, because as you know, that there's so many layers to love and life and everything in between. And in fact, on Instagram, I love sharing a lot of little facts about love that we don't know. And you and I are both nerds, and because and that's one of the things that connected us, is that we both are intellectuals. And one of the things that's fascinating with me about love is, first of all, it's very significant in your life. The relationships you choose are extremely impactful on your outcomes, when it comes to money, when it comes to success, when it comes to happiness. And then also, there's a lot of stuff that happens psychologically when you do fall in love. Like, even just today, I posted something on my Instagram where basically they said that when you meet somebody that's attractive, you're pretty much a big chunk of your brain just shuts down. They said that your ability, your normal reasoning skills when it comes to even just basic social judgment, like, okay, I shouldn't be around that person, that person's not good for me, that all goes out the window because you think he's so fine or you think that she's so gorgeous. And that's why I asked you, because I love to encourage black people to think. I know that that's not popular. I know that everyone wants black people to just be stupid and follow the crowd, but I encourage people to think, because so that's why I asked you. I said, what makes them a perfect couple other than the way they look? And if you ask most people can't really give much of an answer because they don't know these people. They don't know nothing. Michael's 35, Lori's 25. They had a relationship. They're breaking up. That's all people know. But it seems like people are piling on all these other attributes of who they are as people that are not even based in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm seeing some people talk about how it was a fake relationship. I mean, it's really hard to fake a relationship and you're spending Christmas with this person and you're spending all the holidays and you're together for all of these events. Like, that's got to be a tough life to just have a fake relationship. You don't even like this person. It ain't even a real relationship. Maybe some publicist put y'all together to spend all of these intimate going. They went on vacation together. Okay, I admit I was following their relationship. So they did all these things. Look at that. That does not seem like a fake relationship. It seems like maybe probably one of the first public relationships for Michael. And maybe like a first love maybe for her. I don't know. But I think that when you are a celebrity like Michael B. Jordan is, and you're filming movies and you're everybody's trying to get him in a movie. I'm almost certain he has a lot of work. It's probably very difficult to maintain a really nice, solid relationship like that with all of these other entities pulling you a bunch of different directions. So it's very easy, for you to drift apart and have problems. Normal relationships have problems. I've got to imagine that Hollywood relationships got to have double those problems and then some to deal with. So any public Hollywood couple that has made it throughout the years, I'm certain it took a whole lot of work on their part to get that done. So I'm just thinking it's just tough to keep it going.
Hmm. By the way, everybody, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm a finance professor. My wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, is a relationship therapist, licensed relationship therapist, and a full professor of social work, and also an expert on things like addictions and trauma and everything that affects us as people. And so our goal is to have intelligent conversations about things that are happening in the Black community so that we can learn from them and grow from them and things like that. If you'd like some free resources on how to get rid of the drama in your own life so you can find the happiness that you really deserve, feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. We have lots of free stuff there. Just go to the website and take a look. I believe we can help you. So anyway, with Michael B. Jordan, and this one of the things that's interesting about the relationship. If you want my real, spin on this, first off, it's all this anything I say at this point honestly would be a lot of speculation, but I like to speculate a little bit as a mental exercise to kind of talk about the what ifs and how they might apply in our own lives. So the first thing is, this looks like a pretty normal relationship. It looked like a couple that's doing what young people do, right? They're dating each other, and as you mentioned earlier, I can imagine there's a lot of pressure for both of them. Because remember, Lori Harvey isn't a lady who is just a Michael B. Jordan groupie. She's the daughter of Steve Harvey, which means that she's already a princess in her own right. She's already a model. I think that she's already got contracts with modeling agencies and things like that. So she's got her own career. She's got her own friends. She has her own history, which happens to be quite famous. I don't know if you know she dated the rapper Future, which again,
Like everybody dated Future.
right. Somebody need to call the
Future,
C.
it's like a
It's,
relationship with Future is always in your past.
right. Somebody need to call the CDC because we might have a monkeypox outbreak with that dude getting around the way he's getting around. Because that ain't healthy, y'all. I'm sorry. No, you don't want to. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to date somebody that everybody dated. I just don't. I don't know.
Future is
I
like
mean,
the
but then again,
gateway. Future is like the gateway to dating celebrities. If you want to date celebrities, you start with Future and then you move up. The
yeah.
future, you got a bright future in your horizon if you get with Future first.
Wait, I can't hear you, Alicia.
Oh, you can't hear. I said you have a bright future in your horizon if you get with Future.
Well, the funny thing about let me tell you what I've heard some of the guys talk about though online, just legitimately is, they talk about this obsession where you'll have these women like Lori Harvey or Sierra who date guys like Future because he's exciting, he's the rapper, he's famous, and all this other stuff. But he kind of taints you a little bit. A lot of men, like I have to be honest and say, if I met a woman and she said I just broke up with Future, I would not date that woman. It would almost be like getting a new pet. Like, did you get all your shots? You know, because because I'm sorry, if you tell me that your ex boyfriend slept with 10,000 women, that's an issue. I don't care how safe you claim to have been or whatever. And I think that this actually speaks to that whole conversation about about the about sort of how so many women will change their dating preference as they go from their 20s to their 30s. In the 20s, you're dating the thugs and the bad boys, and then you get to your 30s, and then you want the good guys. So you're looking over. Maybe you look over at a guy like me. I was one of the good guys. I was the guy who spent his 20s in my PhD program. Then I hit 31. Suddenly, I'm an eligible bachelor making over $100,000 a year, and then now you're like, oh, let me see if I want to go take a look at this guy Boyce. Well, Boyce is going to be taking a look back to say, like, what did you do with your 20s? I was in graduate school. You were dating Future. That's not appealing to me, So what do you think about that? Do you think that
Okay,
that's
I mean,
unfair?
yeah, I think it's unfair. Some of what you're saying, I get it, but some of what you're saying is a little unfair because I mean, you had a past before you started dating someone,
That is
and
so true. I got a lot of
everybody
ex girlfriends.
has a
You
past.
know that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you met my ex girlfriends.
I probably met all of them, and I no comment. But the thing, the thing is that I can't judge you by them, and if I did, it would be a different story right now. I can't judge you by the because let everybody evolve. Let everybody reflect on their life and say, I want better for myself. I want a better future. I want better. This didn't work. Let everybody make a mistake. And you cannot hold someone to their past. If they're able to give you a really cogent discussion on, here's the person I dated in my past, here's what I've learned from it, and here's what I'm about right now. So you can't hold people to that voice. That's not fair.
Well, I would definitely say it could be unfair, but it could be logical. You have to. I think that you have to consider everyone's past to determine who they are in the present. How did you get here? Who are you? What are these pieces of you? And this is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people don't want to hear about your ex and your previous relationships. But I love to hear about all of that. I want you to tell me the whole story, every story in detail, because you see yourself through your ex relationships. What people don't realize is that who you date is a reflection of you and how you changed and who you are. And the other thing too is that sometimes we want to move on like the past never happened, but sometimes the past doesn't leave. If you have an ex-husband or if you had a child with a man, well, that man is always a part of our relationship, whether I like it or not. If a woman is digging in your husband's bank account because that's his ex-wife and he owes her alimony or child support, then you're in a polygamous marriage to some extent.
It's
There
no, I wouldn't call it that. I would call it more so, you have to talk about boundaries between between you and whoever you're dating. You have to, and we talk about baggage. Everybody has their baggage, boys. They have
Oh,
to deal with it.
absolutely, absolutely.
And
My question is, how many of your bags are going to be inside the house, and
exactly.
how many of your bags are outside the house? So the reason when I say polygamous, I'm talking about financially polygamous. Like if you marry somebody who has two ex-wives and three babies mamas, and all five of those women get a piece of his bank account, you're
Yeah.
not getting a whole man. You're getting a piece of man. Now if he's making $100 million
Possibly.
a year, then you may not care.
Well, I mean, they get as much money as you make, so they'll get alimony and child support based on $100,000 salary, or they get alimony and child support based on the $50,000 salary. I mean, so it's all percentages here.
Right. Of course. Of
And
course. Of course. Oh, that
mhm,
goes without saying. But
yeah, so the thing is that you got to decide if that's something you want to take on. Sometimes people don't want to take that on. They're like, I don't want to take that on.
right, and
Have
that's
to
what I
be
mean.
ready.
So I
So,
probably I
so
would. So I'll confess. Like I don't think I would take on the baggage of dating a woman who dated Future. I would probably.
okay.
I would say, you know what? I really don't know. And I never met any women who dated Future because I'm not in the same age group. But I have met women when I was younger who maybe they had a relationship with a basketball player. I remember actually when I was at University of Kentucky, there was a really beautiful girl that was available, and me and some guys were talking about her, and somebody said, "Well, you know who she dated?" And they mentioned the guy's name, and everybody on campus knew that this guy was a super hoe. That he had literally just been laid down with every girl on the whole campus. And when they mentioned that association, the guy said, literally the reaction was, "Oh no, I'll pass." And so I do think that I think that your dating track record, it's not like it just goes away, male or female. I think that thinking carefully about who you spend your time with is important. Not to say that Lori Harvey is a bad choice for Michael B. Jordan, and not to say, I mean, he's going to be fine. They're both going to be fine, but I do think that those things do matter.
Yeah, they matter. Like I remember, I kind of hung out with this guy since we sharing stories. I hung out with this guy, and we dated in high school, and we were always still good friends or whatever. And then I found out he was with a stripper, and I was like, I can't be with you. I cannot hang out with you. Don't even come near me. Ooh, it's like you got that stripper energy. I couldn't do it. I could not hang out with him anymore in any other kind of fat. I never talked to him ever again. Like, and sometimes I think back on it and be like, gosh, maybe I was a little too harsh. Like he's a guy in his 20s. He's a single man in his 20s. Why would I do that to him? But I just could not. I could not.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now here's a good comment. So Jason says, Boyce, you're dating a woman with children by another man, so you sound hypocritical right now." That's a great point that he made, because one of the things that people should understand is that when you talk about baggage, children, I don't see children as necessarily as bad baggage. It depends on what kind of kids you got. If you got some little badass kids that get on your nerves, then yeah, that's bad. That's not good baggage. But I happen to think children are great, and some men are intimidated by women with children. A lot of times it's financial; they just can't afford, they can barely pay their own bills, so they ain't trying to pay bills for other people. I never had that problem. I had plenty of money. I just and I was always okay. Like I never thought that a woman having a child made her less of a woman. It was always one of those cases where you say, let me look at the situation. Because you do have some people that got kids where the situation's kind of messy, but you got a lot of people, women and men, who have children, who have maybe even a divorce and everything else in their past, but their life is organized, and it's productive, and they're bringing good things into your life. Whereas you got single people with no kids who are a complete mess.
Yeah,
So I think that when people
mhm.
just make one blanket judgment about having children, like if you have children, that's a bad thing. That I would encourage people to think outside of that box, because I think Black children are awesome. I love the idea of playing a role in the raising and the nurturing and the mentorship of a Black child. That to me is a blessing from God. But that's my perspective, right? Not every man thinks that way.
Yeah, and I think the biggest hypocritical part of his statement is that, Boyce, you have kids. So
Well,
it's not
I have one biological child, and I have several godchildren that I do
right.
treat as my, but none of them live with me, right? So now if they all lived with me, I probably would never have even dated or gotten married, because I'd be focused on raising my kids.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, so they have children, and so, you have children too. So, I mean, that's the that's the thing, and all of that has to be negotiated and talked about. I mean, it all brings in and of itself, when you have adult children and when you have small children, it all brings a complexity. And let's just get it straight. I mean, I was married when I had my children, and so their father is definitely taking care of them financially. So it's not like it's not like there's a deadbeat dad, and their dad is very much involved in their lives.
Oh
And
no, sometimes a deadbeat dad is better than an involved dad. It all depends on the situation. Like,
it all depends, right? But
yeah,
in
right,
this
right, right.
situation, they are
My,
the father.
right. So without speaking specifically about our kids, because
Yeah,
our kids are good, right? Our kids have two
yeah,
dads, and we love them. We all love them, and we take good care of them and all that. But what I would say is, it's not so much about what your situation is. It's how do you manage the situation that you're in. I think that's what, and then is the person that you choose appropriate for the situation that they're walking into. So you mentioned, for example, me having my godchildren, which are kind of like my kids. I'll call them and cuss them out, and they get on my nerves and all that, but they're adults, right? The other thing too, though, is let's say that they were 10. Let's say I had 3 10-year-olds, or a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old in my house, and I'm a single dad. Does that mean I can't date? No, I can date like everybody else. But it does mean that a woman who walks in that situation is going to have to make sure that that situation works for her. And if, because if she doesn't like children, then this obviously is not the place for her. But if she,
yeah,
but there are a lot of people who love children. Like, I always, I never wanted to sit down and have more kids. I didn't want to go get somebody pregnant at the age of 45 and start all over again.
yeah.
So marrying a woman with children worked really well for me. I walked right past beautiful young women, not as pretty as you, because I think you're gorgeous, but but I remember, I've gone around the world. I met women 30 years old who wanted to date me, who had no kids at all, and it didn't, to assume that they were automatically a better choice than someone like you, and all professional, intelligent woman with 3 beautiful children. That would be just a simple-minded assumption, And I would say to people, date how you want, just don't date like an idiot. And dating like an idiot is where you make simple, one-dimensional, simple-minded choices that don't involve enough thought and reflection on what's really going to work for you. I knew I said, I don't know exactly what my next situation looks like, but I actually kind of hope that I can get with a woman that has a child, so I ain't gotta start over with a newborn baby. I didn't want to. That's a lot of work. That's 18 years of commitment. I didn't want to do that. I could do about 10. And
Well,
so your
I
children
like.
were not a liability to me at all. The children were just a wonderful gift that I thank God for every single day.
Well, I think it's just it's to each its own. So you said you wouldn't date somebody who dated Future, but Michael B. Jordan did, and this relationship
Yeah.
has come to an end. And I'm sure, I hope we never know what really happened between the two of them. I think it's enough slinging mud on the internet. I hope we never know. I hope they keep it private. I hope that we just see a nice peaceful parting, because there is a peaceful way to terminate a relationship where it doesn't have to be chaotic. And I think the issue is that so many of us, we connect termination with just, why do I have to be mean to this person because I need to terminate with them? Well, no, there's a peaceful, respectful way to terminate with someone and move on with your life without thinking that it needs to be something, dramatic. And, because for most of us, termination is paired with trauma. Termination is paired with a lot of fighting and arguing, and that is what people sync up with termination. So I really hope that it would be nice if we could see an example of termination where it's not the end of the world for the two of them, and they're not trying to bring each other down. Because we don't need no black man, black woman, nice, beautiful couple like this, individuals to bring each other down.
Hey, everybody. You're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm a finance professor. My wife, Dr. Alicia, is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And our goal is to have intelligent conversations about issues that occur in the Black community. We particularly like to talk about relationship issues, but then sometimes we talk about a little bit of everything. And so if you'd like to get some free resources on how to eliminate the drama and the trauma from your life so you can have peace, so you can have happiness, so you can choose the right situations, right relationships, feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. We have a free Black Love Challenge. We also have some other things there that can help you just establish the right mindset to do whatever you want to do. The money mindset, whatever, this is something that we're big on. So feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. We'd love to help you have a better life. We don't just want you to come here for entertainment. We want you to come here so you can actually improve your condition and improve your family. All right. So one thing I'll say, about this thing here is I agree with Steve Harvey. Steve made a good comment about it where he basically said, if everybody can just part ways peacefully,
Yeah.
and then it's cool. Then everything's great. And I agree 100%. I like the fact that these two young people were able to part ways in a way that was very professional. It wasn't raggedy and crazy, and it wasn't. Think about this, right? They're young enough to be the children of Will and Jada, and you see what kind of nonsense Will and Jada are bringing to the table. Like Will and Jada were seen as this power couple, almost like Black royalty, and and I think the Oscars just messed all that up. The red table talks and just laying too much out there, right? Putting too much out there for the public. And I think that a lot of people got sick of that. People were begging them not to talk about their relationship, when you contrast that chaos, which is actually coming from the elders, right, with what you're seeing here, you have to be kind of impressed. I honestly didn't expect the relationship to last. I was like, wait, okay, Michael B. Jordan is a young eligible bachelor, one of the hottest dudes in Hollywood. I'm sure he's got a ton of women trying to holler at him every day. Lori Harvey, absolutely gorgeous, just getting her career started. She's just a baby. I didn't think it was gonna last. I don't take any relationship
Why
seriously
not? Why
unless
wouldn't
they
it
last.
last? Why couldn't they build together? I mean,
It's
whatever
not
it
that they
is,
couldn't build
why couldn't
together, but I
they?
think that they should have the option of just letting this be another one of their experiences. Like this is just and maybe I'm biased in that regard. When I was 25, it would have felt like a lot of pressure to start dating somebody and have people act all crazy and ballistic because we broke up.
Well, wait, who acts crazy and ballistic?
And I'm talking about the public, like the public acting shocked that these two broke up. I expected them to break up.
Uh-huh.
I did.
So
I did. I mean, I'm like, oh, she's 25. They ain't gonna last.
okay, but what about you? What about you? You said when you were 25, you expected. You mentioned yourself when you were 25.
Yeah,
You
when I was 25, when you're 25, I feel like you want every relationship to last forever, but you know that it's not going to.
huh.
At least that's how I felt. When I was
Okay.
25, I wasn't looking for no wife. You know what I was looking for at 25? I was looking to get through and get a PhD and become Dr. Watkins. That's what I
Okay.
was married to. I was married to my career. I had a great girlfriend at the time when I was 25. We did a lot of fighting and there's a lot of chaos, but there was also a lot of love and passion. We would have been great for a Kendrick Lamar song, you know, and
Oh.
great, and we would have been a great case study for a good therapist. I think a good therapist really would have helped us.
Well,
Um,
boys, you and you alone is a good case study for a therapist.
Absolutely, absolutely. In case you haven't figured out, I'm a weirdo. Then the cat's now out the bag, and I just I kind of think that it's okay to kind of say, look, I'm in my 20s. I'm gonna date. I'm gonna do what I want, and and don't judge me. Right now, I think for Michael B. Jordan though, he is 35. He's approaching 40, and I think that for him, he's hitting that stage of life where if he's not careful, I believe that a man can fall in the trap when you have too many options, like when you have too much freedom. You know, that's when guys get weird. Like you see those Hollywood actors. You ever hear crazy stories about Marlon Brando and how everybody wanted to have sex with Marlon Brando. Even Richard Pryor had sex with Marlon Brando, which is kind of like what the hell. And I feel like when guys get in that space where they can just kind of do whatever they want with whoever they want, it takes away the incentive for them to want to do something that's stable and structured. Like pick a wife, have your children, be a family man. So I'd be curious to know what his mindset is if that's what he'd hoped for with Lori. Like, okay, this is going to be my wife. We were going to have a baby, blah, 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 blah. Or if he's like, okay, this is just another chapter in the book of Jordan.
Yeah, everybody, and whether they want to admit it or not, everybody wants to be loved and they want to love. All of us do. And maybe Michael B. Jordan, maybe he was ready to take like that next step, making Lori Instagram, making everybody know, the public know that he was dating her by putting her picture up on Instagram. Maybe that was his attempt at having a deep level of commitment. It tells us that they did love each other, and I think that he took a step, and I hope that he is able. I hope that his love and their love for each other can open each other. Sometimes it can open each other's heart for love. If that's your very first real love, it can open your heart for it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he end up married eventually. Hopefully, she can end up married too, because I think everybody wants to be loved. They want to have somebody special in their life who can see them for who they are and love them for who they are.
Well, what Michael B. Jordan reminds me of a little bit is he reminds me of a young black George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when George Clooney was in his 30s and he would always kind of show up with these these women, these attractive women. Now they were white. I can't judge white women the same way, but so none of them matched to Lori Harvey as far as I'm concerned. But still, he would have his different girlfriends, and he just decided to be Mr. Eligible Bachelor forever. I think now Clooney is what 65 years old now,
But
and
he's
he's
married,
still
right? George Clooney's married, right?
is he married? I don't think he's married. Can you Google that?
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't think Clooney's married. I don't think he ever got married, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misreading it. But I wonder about that, right? So I think that when you're 30, for Lori, is it possible that this could be her first love and all this other stuff? Possibly, because she's young. For Michael, I'd be very surprised if this is his first love at the age of 35. I think this is probably his 10th time around, around the block, as far as relationship type stuff goes. But I do agree with what you're saying that that actually um having a relationship that he goes public with, I think that's a very big deal. Okay, somebody says George Clooney is married with
He
twins.
is married.
He's married. I always thought Clooney was single still. When did
Yeah,
he get married? Did he recently get married?
2014? No, 2018 he got married.
Oh, okay. Let
Yes.
me see here. Let me look it up.
Ha ha ha. So there we go.
Well, I mean, he got married at like 60.
So he was married before. This was his second marriage,
Was his second? Yep, yep. He had one wife from 1989 to 93. That's really kind of before he became a megastar.
right?
And then he got married again in, well, it actually says 2014.
Oh, 2014. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
we
yeah.
were
So
years
okay, so I stand corrected. But
later.
still though, he spent a lot of years, about 25 years, as Mr. Eligible Bachelor. You know, he got married in his what's that? So but in 2014, Clooney was about 53 years old. So, it wasn't like he got married at a time, you know.
That's his
It,
second his second marriage. So he's done it
yeah,
again.
but the first one didn't count though.
Even George Clooney, knowing that he probably has a lot of women after him, he is searching for that one person to love him. And I hope he's found it with this lady, whoever he is. I send them love. I
Well,
send them
Well,
peace in
God
their
bless him.
relationship.
God bless him. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? I'll say this. I think that when you take your relationship public on social media and all that stuff, I think that does mean something. I believe that if a man puts his woman on social media, that's a sign. And I think that if he refuses to put you on social media, that's also a sign.
Uh, okay. It all depends on his reasoning. If he
Okay.
asks somebody, you got to ask because somebody is just like, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable with my private life being out in social media, and I'm just not going to do it under any circumstances. No way, no how. I know there's a lot of celebrities who date and get married, and you hardly ever see their spouse. So it just and it's good. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it's all good as long as there's a reason for it.
Well, that's the thing. Anybody who tells you that they're not going to put you on social media is always going to have a reason. And it's going to be a
Okay.
good reason. Like if I didn't want, let's say that I didn't want you on my Instagram because I didn't want a bunch of people to know you and I were together. I could easily say, well, I'm a private person, and there's a lot of trolls and blah 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 blah, and and it could be true, right? That's the hard part. You really don't know if it's true or not true, but so maybe a better way to say it would be to say that if somebody does put you on social media, then they should get extra brownie points for that. Because, and what's interesting to me also, I'd be curious to know what you think about this. Have you ever seen like a woman get married and have kids and have pictures of herself with her kids on social media, but never put her husband on there? What's that all about?
Anyway, yeah, I mean, you see that sometimes. Here's the thing. Let me tell you what's really important. What's important, whether you put, I'm going to say it right now, boys, whether you never put another picture of me on social media ever again, let me tell you what's important. How you treat me. How you
Yeah, I
treat
think
me
how you
is
treat
what's
it.
important.
I think
So
that's
here's the
important.
thing: like, if you're treating me awesome, and we have a nice, strong connection with each other, and we have a great relationship, and we're getting along, and you don't put one picture of me on social media, I could care less. However, if you treat me like crap and flood your social media with pictures of me, then I'm still going to have a problem.
Yeah, that's
What
true.
matters is how you treat me.
Well, that is true. I mean, right? Like putting somebody on social media doesn't necessarily define how you're treating them, but it does when you're talking about a high profile man that's in the
Yes.
public eye. Which I've had that for a while. I'm not Michael B. Jordan, of course, but I've gotten attention from people and women and everything else. Sometimes you put someone on social media to send a signal,
Okay.
like, and I didn't just do that when you and I got together. I did that also another time when I was very serious. When I was going to get married many years ago, I deliberately mentioned my fiance on the Wendy Williams show, and I mentioned her on Wendy's show because I wanted women to know, please don't tempt me. Please don't like,
Boys,
I'm letting you know that this person.
boys, are you really that naive? Like, There,
I know I'm not naive. I know it's a naive. Don't get me wrong. You know, hoes
some of these
everywhere.
women don't care. You know they don't
There,
care.
there are
They
there are
hit you
people who
up.
don't care, but there are people there, but there are
They
quite a
will
few
hit
who
you
do.
up, and they
It's
do not care who you married
no,
to,
it's
engaged
like
to.
no, it's like
Mhm.
building a fence on the border with Mexico. It ain't gonna stop everybody from coming across, but it is one more obstacle.
No,
You
what
know,
is it gonna do? It's gonna be like, okay, well, I can't mess up his public thing. Let me see if I can DM him or figure out a way to get through to him so that his lady don't know. I mean, I don't know, or so that her man don't know who it is. I mean, there's always people trying out there, and
that
what
there are always
really
people who try, but not every woman is equally desperate or equally
there's some
ambitious,
desperate
right?
chicks out here and desperate men.
Right. Because you got some people who are not going to respect any boundary whatsoever, but there are a lot of people who do. A lot of people who say, "Oh, okay, you're spoken for," or "Oh, she must be special to you because you're mentioning her." Now, if I was like, "Yeah, I got a girlfriend, but I don't like her that much," then a lot of women would say, "Oh, well, he doesn't really like her anyway." So who cares? But if you're like, "Oh, I love her. I think she's amazing. Let me tell you how amazing she is." That at least sends a signal that his heart is already kind of there, right? Like,
Yeah,
so I think that does mean something. That's my point. I know
yeah,
it definitely meant
absolutely.
something to
I
me
agree.
because I
I
had girlfriends that I did not mention at all. I dated. There were times where I did have relationships where I did not mention it at all on social media, not one bit. And it might be 2, 3 years we were dating, but I didn't feel the need to tell anybody. Well, why? Well, because I was honestly open to a better offer. You
Yeah, so
know,
I think what I was trying to say is that uh it doesn't matter if you make it public. I'm marrying this woman and I'm dating this woman. Number one, what matters is how you treat your partner. Number two, what matters is as long as you maintain proper boundaries. It doesn't matter. I could have 100 men in my DMs. What makes a difference is how I treat you when you are around me and how I treat you when you are not around me. So when you're not around me and you're traveling or whatever, I'm going to respect our relationship. That's what matters, and I'm going to respect you as much as I can when you are around me. So, I think that's the key. I think the key is what is your relationship like when you don't have a spotlight, and is that congruent to what your relationship is like and what you put on social media? And so that's the key. Some people can have like a great Instagram relationship, but are they really working that hard on their own relationship that's not filled with pictures? And I know you can tell by what I'm saying right now. I think it's so important to make sure that your interpersonal relationship that is private is as strong and as healthy as possible, so that when I do put you on Boyce, when I put you on my social media, everything on there is genuine. Like, I genuine have love for you, and I want you to know that, even if I don't put it on social media. So I wanted to make that point, because you got a lot of people pretending like their stuff is all perfect, and it's not.
yeah, well, I don't think anybody's stuff is all perfect. Like, I
Mhm.
really think that myth, that perfect relationship myth, needs to be thrown out the window anyway. Because I think that in the overwhelming majority of relationships, there are significant issues that the couple is choosing to consciously battle against, and I personally believe that mindset can be beneficial to your relationship, because when you know you're going to have to fight for it, you know, because I think that some people fail, it seems, because they expect things to last on autopilot. Like, just because we both cute and just because we decide to be a couple, we're just going to be a couple and it's going to be easy. I don't really know if sharing a life with another human being in modern society is easy. I think there's always conflicts. There's a lot of selfishness encouraged in our society. A lot of people, reminded to constantly you do what's best for you, no matter what. We're constantly reminding each other, but don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to other people who tell you to do anything different. You do you all the time. And I don't think relationships work like that. I think relationships require you to constantly realize you can't just do you all the time, because somebody else
You
may
gotta
be
do
offended by that,
us.
and that's tough.
You got to do us. Do us. What do you know? There is some you involved, but there's also us, and you have to do. I mean, that's part of what trust is, and part of what commitment is that you're always. I have to know that even when I'm not around, that you're doing what's best for the relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that's a tough one, and I choose to look at it like even it's you know, I don't know. I don't even think about what happens when I'm not around that much. I think of it as, you know, I that if there's something in the relationship,
That's trust. That's trust and commitment.
yeah, or even if there wasn't even if there, well, I think it is a type of trust, but it's trust in the universe. It's trust to say that if my relationship is ever off balance, then I'll just know it, and I'll know it's not the place for me. But I'm
Yes.
not,
Yes.
sort of constantly looking for reasons to feel off balance, or looking for reasons to feel
Right.
that that somebody isn't representing my interests, because that'll drive you crazy. You
Yeah,
know.
that is so true. That's so true. Yeah, it's true, and it's congruent. So if things are off, you're gonna feel it anyway. But so yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm wondering. So I'm thinking. Okay. So with Michael being 35 and Lori being 25, do you think that 10-year gap is? I mean, do you feel like that played a part in
Yeah,
having
I
like
do.
different objectives in the relationship?
I really do. That 10-year difference, I didn't realize it was a big. I thought Michael B. Jordan was in his 20s, honestly. I just look at him as a little kid. Yes, I really do. I really do think that made a big difference. Because think about 10 years, and she's 25. She's not even, her two lobes, her two sides of her brain hasn't even been hasn't even been formed yet. You know, you're not really, you haven't really solidified in terms of brain development until you're about 27, 28 years old. So there could have been some maturity issues, but we don't know. We don't know. You know, I mean,
Well,
she could.
also what does play a part. The other reason I would say that who you date, like your dating history, does kind of follow you a little bit. A lot of people are kind of saying nasty things about Lori Harvey, and I think a lot of it links to the fact that she dated Future and she also dated Diddy. I mean Diddy's older than me, which I think that's kind of crazy.
Hold on, wait. She dated who?
They're claiming she dated Diddy. That's what people have said online.
Oh God, I hope not. She's a child to compare to him.
Yeah, I hope that's not the
Dang.
case. I've read it in more than one place that she
Oh
did.
no, I hope that's not true.
Now, if she dated Diddy, then that is kind of a that's a little bit of a stain on your record, because you ain't supposed to be. I mean, that's a 30-year age gap. Like
Lord, Marjorie,
Diddy's
protect
gotta
your
be pushing what,
child.
about 53, 52, 53.
Yeah, I feel like protect. I There's no way my child. I'd be like, no,
And
protect
some
my
people are even
child.
saying that she dated Diddy's son.
Oh, did he? Okay, now that makes sense because they've been.
No, and his son, him and the son. That's what they're saying. I think this is all like rumors, kind of getting like.
No, okay, now I can see her dating his son. That makes sense to
No, no,
me.
no, 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 no. They're saying she dated the father and the son. I hope that's not
Okay, that's just
the
a
Father, the
rumor.
Son, and the Holy Spirit. So
She dated the Holy Spirit too. Oh Lord,
oh, I hope that's not the case.
she dated the sign of the cross,
The Holy Trinity.
the Holy
Well,
Trinity.
if that's the case, that does kind of that doesn't look so good. And I think and what's interesting too is it's like it does make you wonder. So if you're Michael B. Jordan and you meet her and she's gorgeous and you like her and you want to have a good relationship with her, but she's got this experience, these set of experiences behind her with these high profile situations. How much should he even care about that? Maybe, is he supposed to ignore it, or is he supposed to say, I get, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, reputation matters. It matters to me. Like, I know, like, one of the things I always liked about you was that you were a person who was always conscious of your reputation. I don't think,
Mhm.
even when we were younger, you would. I don't. I can see you. I can see you being a person who says, no, no, no. I don't want to be known as the girl who blah 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 blah.
I just couldn't do it. But you know what? It's okay. Like there were you have options of the type of men that you want to date. You could date, there's just a lot of things that you can do when you're dating. And I just did what was comfortable for me. I'll just put it that way. And I wasn't interested in dating. I knew I did not want to date an athlete. That's just something that I did not want to sign up for. And that doesn't mean that people who do, there's something wrong with them. It was just my personal thing. And I don't judge other people for wanting to date athletes. I never, and it's interesting because I didn't want to date anybody public or anyone, anyone who would be quote unquote famous. That's just something I didn't never wanted to have. I just wanted to date somebody that was good to me and that was kind and that was gentle. And so, maybe with those standards, I would have dated an athlete, but that's really my biggest concern was to date someone who was good to me and somebody I could be good to. And that was my criteria, honestly. And somebody I was attracted to. So,
Well, you also like smart men. I think I think that came from your dad.
yeah, I like smart men and we connected intellectually for sure, boys. And you were just my fun friend.
Yeah, well,
My fun friend.
your dad.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a coincidence that your father was a professor like I am. You know, and
Yeah,
I think that we pick our partner. And remember, my mother's also a social worker like you. And
look
y'all
at
look alike. So there's a lot of science out there that says that we are attracted to people who remind us of our parents, and so I think your dad was a cool dude, and I never got a chance to meet him, but I actually met Alicia's father at his funeral, which was a tragic way to meet somebody, but I'd heard so much about him, and he was such an awesome person, and he was a strong, such a towering man. He's still a legend down in Tuskegee, as a scholar,
Yeah, he was
and
a
I just
legend, good and bad legend.
yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I admire him because of all the great things I've heard about him through the years, and I also admire him for setting a blueprint for the type of man that you admire. Because I think that sometimes guys who are in that category of being the quote unquote smart guy, we have to deal with, unfortunately, a lot of women that don't, that want to date the thug or want to date the guy who's just got out of jail, or the guy who is the bad boy, and I never wanted to be that guy. I was like, I don't want to end up I'm not going to jail just to impress you. I'm not going to get killed just to, because I'm toting a gun to the club, just because I'm trying to look like a man. Your false version of manhood, this ridiculous image of manhood that leading you to get your ex-boyfriend shot up and shit. I said, no, I don't want to be that guy. If you can't appreciate a guy who's grinding it out in the library, trying to go get bread for the family and trying to just be a good human being, then I'm not the man for you. And when you're in your 20s, it can be a little bit frustrating because unfortunately young women may not have grown out of that stage yet. And even when I was 28, I had little patience for that. And actually, can I tell a story?
I know you got a lot of stories in you, boys. Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you a story. Okay, so there was one girl that I did date when I was 25 years old, and she had a real like ratchet ass chicken head friend that would always take her out to like these crazy places and these wild clubs and whatever. And I never got into that. I was again in my 20s. I was all about education. Period. I was like, I'm gonna be somebody one day. You ain't gonna take me off my path. I don't care who you are. And so one time she goes out to this place where I specifically told her, I said, don't be running with those people like that. Like they're gonna put you in a situation, and she ends up in a situation, and it gets to the point where something happened with some guy who did something that she felt was disrespectful or whatever. So she comes back to me talking about, ain't you gonna go find him and go do something? And I'm
What?
like, okay, wait a minute. So this dude is a dope dealer that got all kinds of weapons and shit. Don't care if he goes to jail, don't care if he dies. And you telling me that I gotta go step out of the space I'm in, where I'm in graduate school. I'm teaching college students at this point, and I gotta go get gangster and get gutter with this guy because you feel he disrespected you when I told you to stay away from that whole situation. And
Yeah.
and I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going. No, you keep your ass over here. That's it. I'm not doing it. And it got into this whole weird thing where, it's like, oh, well, you're not being a man and you're supposed to stand up for me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to get shot over you. So I'm going to, I'm not, no, you know what? I would stand up to him if I had to, but I don't have to. But I am going to stand up to you and say that my life is too valuable, because this is the 90s. Like in the 90s, black men were dying left and right. My best friend was shot in the head by a thug that year. Right. So I was like, I'm not doing nothing that's going to end up with me having to make collect calls to my mama for the next 40 years, or have her going to my funeral next year. So,
Yeah,
so
I
you
mean,
know, so it's just kind of one of those things where
okay.
um I just cheer for the good guys. I cheer for the guys who understand what a man it really looks like, instead of this nonsense that they put on TV to make us create this false illusion of what a black man is supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the choices that you make in your life. Like, I remember, if I can tell a story, when I was in college, there was this guy who's a black guy, and we would study together, and he drove this big white Mercedes Benz. I was like, "What? A college student with no job." And he approached me and he said, I have this package and I can pay you money every month so that you can put this package in your closet. All you got to do is keep the package in your closet. And I was like, no. Then it dawned on me. I said, this dude is probably some drug dealer, which he was, wanting to keep this package in my closet. I don't know what was in the package. And then he wanted me to ride with him in his car somewhere to pick up a package. I guess he felt that the police wouldn't think that there was anything wrong if they saw a couple in the car. And I just remember, like, there is no way I'm doing this. Every morsel, every cell in my body said no. I said no. And I was like, and then I got kind of mad because I was like, you have no respect for me. If you respected me, here I am trying to get my college degree, studying with you, and you're going to try to bring me down with you. I'm going to be in jail. You know how many women are in jail right now because they listened to what some dudes told them? Put this in
Mm.
your, if the police came in there and the SWAT team, all I kept thinking about was the SWAT team's going to come into my apartment and arrest me, and I'm going to jail for years because I listened to what some fool told me. Just like, no, no, no. I'm trying to go to college. And so it just like, it's a degree of respect, because if this woman who you dated, if she had any respect for you and your goals and your personal goals, she never would have put you in a position where you could jeopardize your entire future, jeopardize your whole future, because she got into a bunch of mess. Like, that tells you, and I don't want to pass judgment on your ex-girlfriend, but what kind of girlfriend are you?
Right.
If you love
Well, you know
somebody
what?
to,
I pass judgment on her. I mean, notice she's an ex-girlfriend. She's not a wife.
yeah,
So,
so I cannot, I just couldn't do it. And I didn't talk to that guy anymore because I'm like, he doesn't respect me. He doesn't respect me and my goals and what I want to do. And I have to respect myself enough to know that I'm not going to associate with somebody that's trying to bring me down with them.
well, I
Like,
respect
get
you,
that.
and I respect you, and I respect the audience for joining us for this conversation today. And so I wish Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey the very best, and I'll be curious to see how things pan out in the future. I see that word "future" keeps coming up every time I
I
say the word
love
"future."
future.
Wait, what you say?
I love that word, future. Future. That's a great rap name. What's his
It
government
is a
name,
good
I
name.
wonder?
It is a good name, and he's a talented artist. But
Oh, his album just dropped. It is excellent. The kids been listening to it.
oh
They've
God, don't
been,
say that, please.
this
that,
is a good
they
album. What are you talking about?
we ain't listening to Future when I'm around. How about that?
You have
But
listened to it. You don't
he
even
might
know
be a
it was
talented
him.
artist. Well, we remember though, I'm not just interested in what kind of artist you are. I'm really trying to figure out what kind of black man you are and what kind of contribution you're making to the community. And I don't think that what he represents is gonna is beneficial to the black family or to the black community. And I could go into that. There's a long conversation we could have about that. But I think that my evaluation of a black man has to go far deeper than just can you make a good song, because black people, the whole black community, been duped by a bunch of people making good music who ain't about nothing but creating more generational curses and broken families and trauma and all the things that cause so much pain in our community. So my argument at the end of the day is, yeah, sure, I'll confess that he's talented. I'm sure he is, but I find
Yep.
somebody who's talented that uses the power of music to elevate black people, not to destroy them. So,
Yeah,
so if you want to know what I'm listening to, I'll be listening to D1. I'll be listening to Immortal Technique. I'll be listening to the other great artists out here that are just as talented, who actually want to give black people life and not just breathe death into our community. That's
okay.
my 2 cents.
Absolutely. And I wish all of that for Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey. She took his last name, if that's not his. So, okay, he must have adopted her, but I wish her the best. I wish that she can heal and reflect on this relationship. And the relationship lasted what, 2 years now? So that's a long time. And I hope she will find the love of her life.
Yes,
And
yes.
same to Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, and Steph mentioned the new Kendrick Lamar. The kids were bumping that too. Now
They
that one
was
I
bumping
bumped
Kendrick
with you.
Lamar.
We listened to the whole Kendrick Lamar album. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. Again, that's another artist that's breathing life into the community. Those are the guys I can rock with. Those are the guys I'll pick up the phone and talk to any day of the week. I don't know if I'd wanted to have a conversation with Future unless he wanted advice on how he could shift his image and shift
You
his
wouldn't want to
thinking.
talk to Future?
If he wanted to talk to me and specifically wanted to get my perspective on some of the challenges and the problems with the messaging, I would talk to him. I
Yeah,
think there should be
I
room for
would
break.
hope. Yeah,
Well,
I would hope that you would talk to him.
the problem is that for a lot of young black artists, white people give them so much money they don't feel like they have to listen to older black men anymore. They think they know everything, and then what happens is that they don't understand they're being led down a pathway toward death or prison, and then we're the ones who they start listening to when it's too late. Like some of these artists that are getting these RICO charges and all this stuff. There have been
RICO
guys.
charges. Some of these artists are dying. There was a very famous rap artist who was murdered over the weekend in Atlanta.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was tragic, and he was positive.
Dozens of rappers die every
Yeah.
year. And the thing is that when they're really successful and they're making a lot of money, they don't listen to older black men. They don't listen to the OGs. They because they think they know everything. They think they got it figured out because they're making money and all that. They don't really start listening until they really have a problem, you know. And then they start paying attention to guys like us. But at that point, unfortunately, in many cases, it's too late. So yeah, but I would talk to anybody. I've had beefs with rappers. Tyler the Creator, was really upset with me. I think he's still mad at me for something from years ago. And I always said, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna fight with you on the internet. I'm not doing that. We're not peers. I'm not a kid like you. You're not my age. So but I said, if you want to call me and talk to me directly, I'll be more than happy to lovingly and supportively. I will apologize for everything that I did to hurt you, and I will be happy to mentor you. But I'm not gonna have no stupid screaming, hollering conversation where both of us as black men end up looking like clowns anyway. I'm not a clown. I'm a king. So you can talk to the king in private, but I'm not going back and forth with you on the internet. Period.
Hmm. Yeah, we need to have more examples of a peaceful way. Did you hear what happened in Gary over the weekend? I meant to tell you about this. At the graduation, there's one black, I mean, not black, but there's one high school, public high school in Gary, Indiana, one. And they had a graduation over the weekend. And after the graduation, in the parking lot, there was a shootout.
Wow, are you serious?
In their cap and gown, in the cap and gown, they start shooting each other, and neither one of them got shot, but innocent bystanders got shot. Like, that's the most ridiculous. One little 19-year-old kid was shot in the chest.
No way. Are you
Just
serious?
attending a graduation, and then another lady, another girl, teenage girl got shot in the ankle.
Oh my God.
And they weren't even in the fight. It had nothing to do with them. The two people got into an argument, took out their guns, and started shooting in the parking lot after the graduation. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's terrible.
Terrible. Anyway.
Wow. That breaks my heart. That really breaks
Ugh.
my heart. And all this is engineered. Like, this is social engineering. They created this society. They made the world just like this. There are people that did that deliberately, and it just makes me sad because I don't know what we can do about it. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's end on a better note. And I want to say
Okay.
thank you to everybody who listened to us today. We appreciate it. It was awesome. And also, my website is boycewatkins.com. If you're interested in things like stocks and investing, I got you covered. You guys know my PhDs in that stuff, and I got a lot of free resources there. And then also, Alicia's site is coachingwithdralicia.com. And Alicia sees clients. She does courses and groups and things like that. And one of our big objectives is to support you in your process of confronting the trauma so you can eliminate the drama, so you can have the life you deserve. So feel free to reach out, and we'd be more than happy to help you. And we wish you all the very, very best. And we'll be back with another Pillow Talk real soon. So God bless you. Have a good day. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.